Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of We're All Humans Here. I'm very excited to be sharing this with you. This first episode, I'm going to be talking to Ruth. I'll introduce her properly with a bit of the scuffed intro from when we actually recorded in a few seconds, in a few minutes. I just wanted to say thank you for the support so far. It's been absolutely wonderful, and I'm very, 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 very excited to see where this goes. Basically, this is a podcast where I will be talking to beautiful human beings from all walks of life, just kind of exploring stories, experiences, perspectives, and, you know, for whatever it's for, whether we're being entertained, looking at life in a new way, just understanding, like, the foundations that make people who they are, what makes human beings, because at the end of the day, we are all humans here. This is the first episode I've ever done. So I would absolutely love your feedback. I would love the support if you want to do the standard like, subscribe stuff. And any kind of feedback that you have, I would absolutely love to hear it. In the meantime, sit back, enjoy the lovely, lovely Ruth. She absolutely nailed it. We were both very, very nervous to begin with. But as the episode goes on, you'll see that we kind of relax and enjoy ourselves. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy what we have to say. And I will see you on the other side. Peace and love, guys. Bye. Hi, I'm Mike, or Trips, and welcome to episode 1 of We're All Humans Here. I actually test run this little preview earlier, and I couldn't remember the name of the podcast. I was like, wait, what's it? Because I've never said it out loud. I was like, welcome to episode 1 of... that's
what?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But basically, it's a new podcast show that we're starting, which deep dives into human stories and perspectives of people, whether we're learning, feeling inspired, being entertained, or just kind of looking at life in a new way from the perspective of other people. Very excited to be doing this. It feels very weird to like actually be here, like doing it, which is quite nice. Yeah. But absolutely honored to have you as my first guest today, Ruth. Or AI Ruth. Do people call you Ruth or AI Ruth?
Everyone calls me Ruth. People
Ruth.
Who are new to the stream calls me AI.
Just AI.
Yeah. They're always like, "Are you an AI?" Yes.
Yes, I'm an avatar, like a VTuber avatar. Yeah. So to kind of like officially introduce you, obviously everyone knows you as the queen of the little shits. Or the little shits. Now that's going to be forever immortalized. But obviously you're all that. So you're based in Malaysia. You have to correct me if I get this wrong. You're based in Malaysia. You're a third-year economics student. Co-work streamer. Instagram reeler. Lifetime lifestyle blogger. Kind of like in the beginning stages.
Everything's right so far.
Everything's right so far.
It feels weird.
Perfect.
Yeah, it feels weird hearing it though, because I don't actually feel like I'm an actual Instagram blogger. But I guess you can call me that. I
think you're definitely in the growing stages. As I was making notes to kind of start this off, the thing that kept coming up over and over again was that it's like you're planting a seed, and you're kind of in the beginning stages where you're putting the seeds into the garden, and you're kind of pulling up a few weeds, you're seeing what works, seeing what goes, and you're kind of like trying to find your path. And I think that's a really exciting place to kind of have this conversation, because it's like, it's all exciting, it's all terrifying, and nerve-wracking.
Nothing is familiar.
Nothing is familiar. How long have you been doing this kind of thing for?
So, I love your illustration, by the way, about the whole seeds thing, because even before this podcast, it was sort of a picture that was already in my mind about, you know, planting seeds. Not just about, you know, streaming or about Instagram, but just in general in life, like, you know, investing into the next phase. So when you said that, I was like, wow, it's a good illustration. Mike is a mind reader, guys. If you come on his podcast, he's probably going to tell you your future or something.
Do a tarot reading.
Yeah, he's probably did tarot reading beforehand. How long have I been doing this? I started co-work streaming last year. So that's 2021 September. I think that's like 5-6 months now.
Yeah, that'd be
I don't know,
coming up to 6 months, something like that.
Coming up to 6 months, yeah. About 6 months now. I started my Instagram maybe in October last year. Yeah, something
that was
like
in line with the stream. They were like together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I created my Instagram intentionally for the stream because I was like, oh, do I want my private life on the internet? I don't know. So I just made a different Instagram account.
That's really cool though. It's nice that all... Do you remember the reason why you started? I think with most co-workers specifically, it's that you were trying to get work done, and you're like, I'm procrastinating so much, and then you find co-working streams, and you're like, oh, I could do this. Like, I could do this as well.
Right? Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the reasons. So why did I start streaming? Honestly, when I first started, there wasn't really a solid reason. Like, I don't have the whole like, this is my purpose, this is my mission and my goal. It was just like, oh, co-working streams. I watch co-working videos on YouTube, the whole like, study with me for 2 hours thing. So when I came on Twitch, I was like, oh wow, it's live, that's cool. And I just hanged around in people's streams, and they were like, Ruth, when are you gonna stream? And I'm like, no. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, maybe maybe one day. So yeah, that's part of why I just wanted to have fun, give it a go. I just really like the whole aspect of being able to create an environment on Twitch, because you can do a lot of things to influence the space that you are creating, like the type of music, the visuals, how you talk. It kind of creates an atmosphere, and I just like the sense of being able to create something, but on a social media platform. So that's kind of the initial reason why I started. But over time, I kind of got bigger reasons in a way. So as it progressed, and as I met people on the internet, I realized that, damn, like, can I swear? Is it
absolutely
fine?
Yeah, this is like completely casual, like do whatever you like.
Okay, cool.
Within reason, within TOS. Swear and fun.
I met some people on the internet. I was like, shit, man, these people go through some shit in life. There's always people from a lot of different backgrounds, and I didn't realize what simple just acts of just being kind to someone made an impact on people, until someone comes in and was like, wow, when you said this, it made my day. And I was like, what? Or I don't know if I can say their name on stream. I didn't ask them for permission. But there's this specific person. If he watches this, he knows. I call him a legend one time. I think you know. Yeah. I call him a legend one time on stream. And every time after that, every time he see me, he would just be like, oh, it's like the legend in return. And it made me realize, like, wow, that simple phrasing actually made an impact in someone else's day. So then I started to realize that, instead of just streaming for the sake of getting work done, I would like my space to be sort of a place where people can feel heard and feel like they matter in a way, at least a positive impact in some sense. So yeah, that's the whole why behind streaming.
That's really, really beautiful. Like, super beautiful. It matches perfect. Like, I said, I was making some notes, and I was trying to describe you in like a couple of words, and I had like calm, relaxed, patient, supportive, and it's just like this. And I think when we first like spoke about doing this recording, it was like you have such this passion for helping people, and like your focus on kindness, I think, is very, very powerful, especially for students and things like that. Like, you have students that are working really, really hard, being in co-working as well. You're met with a lot of people that push themselves to kind of burn out like that. They walk that line, and sometimes they might tip over it, sometimes they come back. And having that mentality that you have, where you're like, you can be kind to yourself, like you can reset. It's not like you've got to grind, you've got to hustle, you've got to like just go until you kind of pass out or get really unhealthy. You're very, very compassionate with it, and I think that's why your community is very attractive to a lot of people, because it's like it's like grind mentality mixed with love. It's like a really nice balance. And it's nice that it's coming so far. Are you excited for the future?
Yes. Excited, scared, uncertain. The whole mix, you know how it is. But thank you. I really appreciate that. That's really sweet of you. So kind. I feel the same way about your stream. Well, in a slightly different wording, because I think our streams have different strengths. Like your stream is a lot more lively and a lot more energetic and engaging, but it's chaotic. So nice. So you go there and you're just like, I'm in a good mood just for being here.
That's really lovely.
Am I excited about the future? I am scared. I feel like I'm in a bit of a transition phase, because I'm in my final year of uni too, and after this I'm going to work, and I haven't fully figured out what I'm gonna even do for work, let alone what I'm gonna do for stream. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but definitely hopeful. I think just like I asked myself, like, just recently. As I think, as you can tell, just yesterday I posted on my story. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what, where am I going with this? What am I doing? And I kind of just settled on like, okay, you don't really have to fully figure out, but just keep saying yes and just take it one step at a time. So yeah,
That's
how I
really
feel
cool.
about streaming
That's
in the
really
future.
good.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by like kind of zooming out of the everyday experiences that we're going through or that you're going through. You're kind of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, and not being well, I say not being afraid to try, but I'm kind of assuming that. Like, do you find it like, what's your process when you have an idea? Like, where do these ideas come from? And where do you kind of say, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this? Because you do like a lot. You do the streaming, you do the reels, YouTube videos. You're kind of like in that really exciting stage where you're like trying lots of little things and narrowing down what you want to do.
Yeah. What's my thought process behind it?
Yeah, like what makes you say like, yeah, this feels right or this feels wrong, or when you reflect on something, like what's the mind, like what are you focusing on basically?
Okay, good
It's a big question.
Now you're making me wonder, do I have a creative process?
I think you will to an extent, process, but maybe not. Like
probably subconsciously. That's true.
For sure. If it helps, like I'm kind of the same where I feel like I don't have a creative process. I just do things. There's that scene in the Joker and he's like, I don't think, I just do. Or in the Batman movies, he's like, I just do things. And I'm like, shit. I think the actual scene is, I'm like a dog chasing a car. I never know what I would do if I actually caught it. And I'm kind of like that, just in the sense that I just do things and it just kind of, things happen and some stuff works and some stuff doesn't. But it's always in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, oh, now I see why I did this. For example, I've been doing a lot of, you might have noticed at the beginning of the year, I started doing streams that were more kind of like memey. Like we did like the Japanese food tasting or snack tasting, like chat versus stream, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was going on YouTube, and I kind of was doing it, and I was making it, and I was editing the videos and stuff, and I kind of looked at myself, and I was like, I've wandered off topic here. Like, I've wandered off the path. Like, I've forgotten the reason why I started, which was like to sort of help people and bring value to people's lives. And I'm like, oh, I'm like heading off track now, and it feels weird. And I kind of noticed it, and I was like, oh, my driving force is the reason I started, which was like helping people or kind of helping people see things from different ways and things like that. When obviously snack tasting is like a little bit off that, like in more of an entertaining way rather than that. So I'm kind of asking you, what's your reason for starting? Like you said with the streams, people come in and like there's such a small act of kindness can make someone's day. It can change someone's day. Like it could, like the butterfly effect from it is huge. Does that help at all?
I like it does. I like what you shared. I definitely resonate with like, you know, having so many ideas and just going for it, and then suddenly when you're in the middle of it, you're like, wait, why am I here again? Like, what am I doing? I think definitely because I feel like we are both very, I think I would say we're both pretty ambitious people. We're both pretty go-getting in a way. Like we're always trying to think of the next idea and doing the next thing. And sometimes we don't quite pause and be like, why am I doing it? So I definitely resonate with that. I feel like when it comes to content creating, I always have to try to juggle the balance in my brain between doing something purely for a growth, like a metric growth, and doing something because this is just something that I want to do. So like, honestly, I am quite a performance-orientated person, I would say. So I would naturally think of something in terms of like, how well is this performing? What can I do to make it perform better? And so creating an Instagram was kind of just a natural way to help the performance of stream, because, you know, they always say that if you're a Twitch streamer, it's good to be across different platforms. And just like creating like consistent reels is also a form of just trying to think of like, what's the best content that I could create that can create the highest engagement and performance, because reels does a lot better than posts on Instagram. So I feel like I always have to kind of juggle between being too focused on just doing things for the sake of growing and also kind of remembering the why behind why I do it. Like if I sit back and actually think about like, why am I actually doing it? I realize that I'm just creating because I just love to create and I just love to document. And then I asked myself, like, can that just be the pure reason why I do something? And I was like, at first I was like, no, I need to find a reason that can like attach it to like a cause, a functional thing. And after a while I was like, I guess I can. Like, I don't necessarily have to, in a way. So now my thought process is kind of like, I guess there's a few factors. One is it beneficial to people around me and to myself? Like, if I create a content, I want it to be value adding. I don't want to just put stuff out there. Another thing is, does it resonate with sort of what I love to do as myself? Because I don't want to get too consumed with just working and I forget why I do what I do. So yeah, I think those two things, the two main thought processes right now. But honestly, sometimes I don't think about it. I just do it. Just make a video because it's fun. I don't really go too deep into it.
All of that is really, really powerful, especially being a creator, and knowing a lot of creators will kind of listen to this, and it's like, it's so easy to change your goals between what you want to create, because like if you're like, I want to get as many likes or as views or as followers or subs or whatever as possible on this platform, it's a very easy goal to go for, because the whole thing is set up in a way that makes you see how you're performing. Like you said, if you post a reel and it does kind of well, and you post another reel and it does really well, then you're like, this is a successful reel. But the first one may be more true to who you actually are, and like who like you're being and the reason you started. And it's very hard to find that balance. And I suppose, like you said, your creative process is to find the balance between what works like that and what works for yourself. Especially being in this part of your life where you're still kind of figuring out. I think we all are. I think from when you're maybe 15 to 30, and obviously I'm not sure what kind of comes after that from experience, but you're still trying to figure out like who you are, like what your place is in the world, and what actually matters to you, like what your values are and all that kind of thing. Which is important.
That's
and
very
then expressing
true.
expressing it through content as well is like
That's true. That's why it's so important for your content to kind of grow with you. Imagine if you said, this is what I'm going to do. And then you kind of change your thought process in 5 years and you'll be like, I don't even resonate with this anymore.
For sure. 100%. I vibe with that completely. And like you said, if you're doing it for views, quote unquote, then it just doesn't get it doesn't feel right. This is what I was saying back in January. It doesn't feel... I was liking the content and I was enjoying it and it was doing well, but I was like, this isn't true to who I am. So I had to kind of like reel it in. I was like, okay, I need to try something else. And then like 3 weeks later, we're doing a podcast. So in the same sense of just like throwing stuff out there. Just doing stuff.
That's very true. It's a lot less fulfilling, isn't it? Like it feels nice, it performs well, but you're like, it doesn't resonate with me. It's not something that I'm completely passionate about. So I think it's really cool that you're constantly like, start taking a step back, asking yourself, is this really what I want to do? Is this aligned with what I want to do? And you're very willing to always experiment, which is very cool. It's very inspiring, honestly.
I mean, same back at you though, whether it's like the whole Project 50 thing, like your reels, your co-working streams. Obviously it's so difficult when you're struggling, like balancing a course, like a very intensive university course, like at the same time. How do you find balance between them two, like between content
How do
and...
I find balance?
I don't.
How
I
do
just
I
burn
find
out.
balance?
I just burn out.
What is balance?
Who's she then?
I don't feel qualified to give this advice because I honestly, I don't really know what's balance. Someone on stream asked me today. They came into my stream. They were new. They're like, hi. I'm like, hi. And then they were like, is she a workaholic? I'm like, yes.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So I don't. I was like, recovering? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really have good advice.
It doesn't have to be advice. It can be like what you struggle with, like what it does a lack of balance look like for you.
Okay. What does a lack of balance look like for me? So I find that I'm just the kind of person that's always getting so consumed with my goals, and I'll just keep going and going and going, and I just forget to rest. It's not really like I don't want to rest, I just forget. Like sometimes I just forget to eat. It's not like I don't want to eat, I just forget to eat. So that's just an example, and I'll just keep going. And then a few months in, I'll be like, why am I so exhausted? And I'll be like, oh shit, I did it again. So I feel like I'm always trying to reframe my brain and learn how to have balance. And that's why I'm always telling people that it's okay if you can't work, or it's okay if you need to take an off day, because I know the danger of just pushing yourself too much, and then it's just so much harder to recover. So I'm still figuring it out, but for now, that looks like setting a cutoff time. So I tell myself that I'm gonna wake up early and start work in the morning, because I work better in the morning and my classes are done anyways. And after 6, at most 7, I try not to touch work at all for the rest of the night, and I'll just do whatever, maybe spend time with people, maybe just do a hobby. And also the whole Project 50 thing that we were talking about. So for those who don't know, Project 50 is a habit tracking challenge. So you have a bunch of habits and you're supposed to do it every single day for 50 days, and all of them. So you have journaling, you have... Is meditating inside? No, I think I added meditating on my own. You don't have meditating, but you can do it. You have working out, you have learning a new skill, you have reading, you have waking up early. And even though I didn't do all of those 5-6 things every single day, I realized that it really did help a lot with just learning better balance. It really helped to take a step back and just learn to take care of yourself before you put yourself out there. So just these tiny things. So far, they have been very helpful. I'm not that far in. I haven't completed 50 days, but it's been really good so far. Yeah,
that's really nice. Having that structure as well, I think, is very important, because it gives, like, especially being goal orientated. If you have a list of habits and you're like, right, I'm doing these now for 50 days, you can like kind of hyper focus on like, okay, I'm doing these now, and you know that things that you're doing are like good for you, and even though it's still got that goal mentality, you can still kind of get balance for it.
That's very true. Oh, now I know why it works. Yeah, I'm probably looking at it as a goal, but it's benefiting.
Bang!
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you were saying that, you're like, okay, you were focused on like the goal aspect. You're like, do it for 50 days. Like, I want to do this. Yeah. And it's not so much about like the thing that you're doing. It's the, like, you know that they're good for you. Like whether you're reading or you have getting up at a certain time, or having a having a cut-off time is so important. And it's something I'm learning now. And I'm like, okay, I think mine's about 8 o'clock. I'm like, I will just nothing, no emails, no work, no nothing. And wow, it makes a difference. Such a difference to actually have chill time, which is really, really cool. Really, really nice.
It does.
Have you ever been in a situation where the balance has been, like, there's a real lack of balance, and you've like burnt out, or you've just like break down, or it's like, so I feel like I've been there several times.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? You go through it once and you're like, I'm not doing this again. I've learned my lesson, and then just do it a few times.
Yeah,
it takes a while to learn.
For sure.
I've definitely been there as well. At first it was just exhaustion, and then it was burnout, and then it was like depression. So wouldn't recommend.
I know exactly what you mean, and
was that the same for you?
Yeah, 100%. You get exhausted and tired, and I personally, I felt like I noticed it, and I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, next week I'll just sort my sleeping pattern out, and it was like I kind of dismissed it, and then it got worse, and then it got to this point where definitely depression became like a part of it, or at least what do you call it? Yeah, burnout specifically. And you were like, it was the best thing I could do was get out of bed in the morning. And I would just play. I'd sit down at the computer and I'm like, right, I'm going to work today. And then for the next 8 hours, I'd just play video games and then go to bed. And I repeated that whole cycle. And I just couldn't find it within myself to get out of that. Like, I just didn't have the I don't know if you want to call it motivation. I didn't have the drive or the spark to. Yeah. Like, I think I took the uncompassionate approach, because I was watching a lot of motivational videos, you know, the YouTube ones, and they're like, go to the gym, like, get up at 5 and like go live your life, and it was like very like go.
Yes.
And I was like, but I can't. I'm trying, but I can't do
makes you
it.
feel worse.
Yeah, I was being really, really hard on myself, and just like
Oh.
working myself into the ground. And I was like, oh, I'm a failure. Like I can't do it. Like all these like high performing people are just gonna like go and live their dreams, and I'm gonna be stuck here doing nothing. Like, and it wasn't until I found mainly gratitude, but like compassion and kindness for myself and for other people, that I started to really pick up from that.
Yeah.
How about yourself when you were in these like harder I don't want to say darker times, but like the times where there's a lot of pressure, what did you find to kind of get back on your feet, push through the dirt, so to speak, if you want to go back to the seed analogy?
Oh, yes, the sea analogy. Oh man, but that sounds so tough. That's so true, because when you're in that spot, you don't just tell yourself, I need to get up, because it's probably the last thing you need at that moment. It's not like you don't want to get up, but you don't have the will or like the strength to do even simple things. So it's definitely so hard, like what you went through. And exactly like what you said, when you go through the whole like, I should do this, I should do that mentality, it just makes you feel worse, and you kind of spiral down, and you're like, everyone else is getting their goals, I'm wasting my life away, and it's worse and worse and worse. But when you allow yourself self-compassion, it's so healing in a way, just to allow yourself to feel it, and then recover from it. How did I get out from burnout? Well, I think I'm still trying to get out of it, actually. So my burnout happened pretty recently. It happened maybe last year, and then I got depressed somewhere last year. But it's because I got into such a pit spot, like whatever you said, I felt all of those things, like, just feeling like you can't do the bare minimum. And because it got into such a horrible spot, it made me feel like, okay, I can't really ignore this anymore. You know how before this, like, it's not healthy, but you can go on. You're still functioning.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I just put it aside. It's okay. I'm fine.
Future Ruth can
but it's only when...
do it.
Huh?
Future
Sorry?
Ruth can sort that out.
Yes, sounds like a problem for future Ruth. When I have the time to sort it out. But it's only when everything kind of piles up and you kind of go into like a ditch, and then I was like, oh shit, I need to get this sorted. Like I can't really go on like this anymore. So then I started going for therapy. Therapy has been so helpful, honestly. If anyone is struggling and like with your mental health, would definitely recommend going for therapy. It helps so much with just reflecting and figuring out the root cause behind why you're burnt out, and trying to be more aware of the thought process. So now it's been a few months of therapy, just going to therapy, working on kind of reflecting on the thought process behind it, like what you said, the whole like, oh, I should do this mentality, and also working on work boundaries, very important. Working on boundaries. It's slowly helping. I would like to say it's making progress. I'm kind of scared to say that I'm making progress, because it's a bit of it's still in the construction phase. But yeah, those things, having boundaries, taking time to reflect, learning that you matter as well, not just what you do, and prioritizing those things, they kind of all compile, and they do help in the long run.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And like you said, it's still I kind of what you were going on when you said I'm kind of scared to say that I'm progressing. What does that mean?
Well,
you're like, no, don't ask me that.
yeah, I mean,
you don't have to if you want to. But...
It's fine. I feel like I'm scared to admit that like I might be getting better, because sometimes when it's with my mental health, it feels a bit volatile. Like we have good days and we have bad days, and I'm worried about getting my hopes up that I'm getting better, and then after that I'll go down. And although it's totally fine to go down, because bad days and good days are normal, my brain's kind of like, oh, the good days didn't count. You're still here. So yeah, that's where I'm at currently.
It was all for nothing. I feel that as well. I used to have really bad panic attacks. Laying on the floor, kind of like chest about to explode, just laying on the floor. And anytime I got like heartburn or a little bit anxious, especially like after going to therapy as well, I would say to myself, anytime I felt like a pang of anxiety, I'd say, oh no, I'm going to have a panic attack. And I haven't had a panic attack in, well, at this point, it's been like 3 years. But even still, if I get like a little bit of anxiety, I'm like, I'm going back there. This is the fall. Like, we're going back to that stage of life. Yeah, it's like you don't want to go there. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Do you still feel that now?
Not as much as I used to, for sure. If I do feel a little anxious, I used to get really clammy hands, like when I had a panic attack coming on. So if I get clammy hands now, I'm like, ooh, like I feel like even speaking about it, my brain's like, is this it? Are we gonna have a panic attack right now? Like, am I gonna have to just go to bed or something? But I with experience, like I'm sure that it won't. And even if it did, like I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. I'm not gonna say, oh, we're back here again, you fucked up, like something's wrong and you didn't deal with it or anything like that.
That's awesome.
Which is
so much more self-compassion in your thought process now.
Oh, the learning experience over the last couple of years has been insane. And I think everyone can probably relate in their own experiences, whether it's relationships or relationships with yourself or how you go about looking at life. Like, we're all learning so much, especially in these kind of spheres or communities that we're in. It's a very... like, I want to be a better version of myself in whatever way that is. I mean, that's why you do co-working. That's why anyone goes to co-work, because you're like, I want to be able to focus. I want to do this. It's very interesting that you said about boundaries. Why are boundaries so important to you? And in what way?
Boundaries. In what way?
You said it's like something you've learned, are very important.
Boundaries. Okay, let me think. How do I say this?
You can just spread it out.
Spread it out and just hope for the best.
Yeah, just brain dump like it's fun.
Hope for the best. Brain dump. Yeah. Right. So I only realized recently that I have really bad boundaries, but all the while it was kind of like disguised as like, you're just a very helpful and reliable person. All this while I just thought, okay, I'm reliable, I'm helpful, or at least I'm trying to be. And so whether it was with my personal life, whether it was with work, whether it was with commitments, I didn't know how to say no. I would just always say yes, even if I was busy. Like, let's say I have 10 things on my plate and someone's like, Ruth, can you do this? I was like, inside I'm like, but outside I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, because in my brain I'm like, I can't say no, I have to do it. And later on I realized that, oh wow, that's actually really pro boundaries. And I think it led a lot to burnout, because I was trying to take on everything, and so I couldn't really hold on to anything anymore. So now I'm just trying to learn to have better boundaries with work as well. Just little things, like learning how to say no if I'm busy, or not feeling like I owe people my time, or asking for a meeting at a later date instead of like immediately. Oh, these are such simple things, but I find that whenever, because I'm not used to it, now when I'm trying to do it, I get so anxious. Like, I go like, should I not? Is this a bad answer? Like, am I irresponsible? But I guess that's all just the learning process of learning how to do it. I'm sure as time goes, it gets a bit easier. Every time I say no to something small, I do a tiny happy dance and be like, good job, Ruth, you did it. I don't feel good, but you did it. Pat on the back, well done.
It's definitely a hard thing with boundaries, especially when your kind of your goal is to be like, you say, how do I want to show up in the world? I want to be kind, I want to be compassionate, I want to help people, I want to make the world a better place than it was when I woke up this morning. And obviously the best way to do that is to say like, oh, you need help with something, let me help you then. Like, oh, you need a favor, oh, you need to do this, like I can do that. And obviously finding that it's not so much, do you find it is so much boundaries with other people, or it's boundaries with yourself, or probably a bit of both?
Probably both, because I think boundaries with yourself affects your boundaries with other people. So initially I used to think like, people just ask me for too much, and then I realized that I just expect myself to do it for people, and so I create a scenario where I allow people to keep asking me for more and more. So definitely boundaries with both myself and with other people. And yeah, exactly like what you said, you would think that if I want to be helpful, I need to say yes to everyone. If I want to do this, I need to be present all the time. But when you're always doing that, you can't really show up the way that you need to show up. And it's actually worse for other people as well. And so I'm trying to learn that taking care of what's on my garden first will enable me to be better able to care for other people's garden. Or the whole garden analogy again.
We'll have to make the title like flower related. Something to do with that. I might make a thumbnail with like a sunflower. Yeah, then just like your face in the sunflower or something. That's really good though. That's really really powerful. I really love what you said about if you are burning out and you're not having boundaries with yourself or with other people, then you're kind of not allowing yourself to show up in the best way, because you can't. You're exhausted, you've got no energy. Like I said, your garden's like on fire, and you're kind of like, this literally like the meme, like this is fine, and you're like, oh, forget about my like burning tire yard of a garden, and like, oh, I'll come and help yours. Do you feel, this is something I've personally struggled with a lot, but do you feel like you, especially in the past, maybe even still now, you find that, or I just trying to think how to word it, I used to, being more mindful now, not as much, thought that I could help, I would save myself by saving other people. Like I would hide my problems, and I'd be like, especially in relationships, this is so bad, I'd be like, oh, I will save, if I can save others, like I saved me through that. And I was never looking within myself, I was always looking outwards. Do you find that resonates?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to hear more about that. That's very interesting. When you say, what do you mean by you save yourself? True. Okay. We're coming back.
No, I'm joking. It's just a chat. So.
But only if you're comfortable, of course. If not, it's totally okay.
No, it's so in previous relationships, especially when I was going through depression, and there was a lot of like darker thought. I suppose if we say like trigger warning, it'll be fine. But like kind of suicidal thoughts and things like that. I was very much finding myself around other people who are at a similar place. And I was always like, oh, you should go to therapy, or you should exercise, we should eat well, we should go for walks and things like that. And, you know, like all the kind of self-care stuff, like trying to journal. And I was always, but the reason I was learning how to do all this, like all this sort of self-care stuff, was to help the people that I was with, especially if it was like a partner or a girlfriend. And I was learning all this stuff so I could then give it to that other person, and I could be like, look, you can do this and it can save you, without actually realizing like, oh, I should probably be learning this like for me, if that makes sense. So it's definitely been a process, because it's when I started like taking the time to apply it to myself and actually like go inwards. I was like, oh, I'm not giving myself like any love at all, like we said about the gardens. Like I'm not in my garden like at all. I'm just like in other people's, being like, oh, this looks beautiful, this looks beautiful, this looks beautiful, without being like, well, actually mine's not in a good state at all. I need to like go back there. Which I think is really good. On your kind of journey so far, what do you think that you've learned is your best strength? Like something you've learned about yourself and you're like, damn, like I'm good at that.
Strength.
Yeah, I think it's easy to talk about like I burn out, I do this, but
before we go into that, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. You know, it's very raw, it's very honest, and it's a lot of I feel like it's a lot of humility to come to that realization as well, because it's very sneaky. Like you don't go consciously thinking that I'm gonna help myself through helping other people, right? You're just like, you're just automatically caring for other people and like wanting to care for people and help them. And then subconsciously, after digging deep, you realize that, oh, I don't do it for myself too. I definitely resonate with what you shared, and the whole like, you know, I need to be there for people, but just forgetting about yourself as well. So, you know, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. No, it's I think it's very big with,
yes.
with content. With content creation especially, I used to do a lot of blogging, like self-care, like writing blogs and stuff. And I would always write about stuff that I had learned about, and then I would like maybe like whether it was like the benefits of meditating or something like that. But I'd always be writing it in a way where I'm putting it into words that I understand, but it was always for other people to read. And then when I took a shift, especially with like the streams, it seems to be working really well, where it's actually I'm doing stuff for me and I'm just sharing my experiences, which is kind of what this podcast is based on. Like, I'm not saying like you should go and meditate, you should go and journal. It's, this is my experience, this is Ruth's experience. Like, if you look at your own life and you're like, oh shit, like this clicks, or this makes me think about this, like everyone's got to figure it out on their own, but you have to have like, you know, the inspiration or the spark or sowing the seed to kind of have that thought grow, whatever that thought may be. Because some people will listen to this and they'll be like, like it's okay, it's whatever, and some people will be like, wow, that's what I needed to hear right now, and it will obviously chop and change as we go.
That's true. Just being authentic and be like, this is where I'm at, and it's so much more relatable to people. Like when you shared that, I definitely resonated with it as well. The whole like, every time you do a decision, it's always for other people. Like, can I share this on the podcast? Let me think.
If you're comfortable.
Okay, I'll kind of share in a
names,
filtered version.
Absolutely.
I had the exact same thought process.
Okay.
Like for example, in relationships, I will have the whole thought process of like trying to do something for the other person as well, and it's always for the other person. It's never, I mean, I feel bad if I say it's never, but I probably do it subconsciously. And okay, a lot of times the thought process is for the other person. For example, even going to therapy, I wasn't entirely like, I'm going to therapy because I need help. I was like, I'm going to be so bad for the people around me. I'm going to be it's like, I can't be there for people around me if I can't take care of myself. So I need to go to therapy so I can take care of other people. It's not wrong, but it's just the focus is always on trying to serve another person, and just completely forgetting my own well-being. And even things like trying to get better from burnout, I only realized it recently when I'm like trying to have a healthier person. The only reason I stepped down from roles because I was carrying too many roles. And the only reason that I stepped down was because I was just so ineffective. I felt like I wasn't efficient anymore in my role, and so it would be more beneficial for the team if I didn't have my role. So it was still in a whole like efficiency mindset, what's best for other people. So yeah, totally relate with what you said about learning to kind of take care of your own garden. Realize that it exists. Sometimes I think it doesn't even exist. It's not like you don't want to take care of it, just forget that it's even there. Just trying to remember you have a garden that has weeds, and you know,
it can be
maybe it's good to pluck some of those weeds. Yeah.
Plant some flowers, maybe put a nice tree in there. And I think we do forget that it can like even throughout this whole conversation, it's easy to focus on like, oh, I'm turning up for other people, oh, I have no boundaries, oh, I get stressed, I'm prone to burnout, I'm results based, blah 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 blah, like whatever it is. And it's hard to think that your garden is beautiful in so many ways, and you can kind of look at it and you can do a bit of work on it, and you look at it and you like can look yourself in the mirror, or you look at, you know, you can look at your community, like especially for someone like you, like your community is a testament to you, whether that's like a good or bad thing. And in your case, it's like everybody is so supportive, everybody is so lovely. You know, when someone comes in chat and everyone's like, oh, hey, or like someone passes an exam or something and everyone's so supportive and they're like, oh, like congratulations, well done. Like that's such a nurturing environment, and it's like that is a reflection of you, especially on somewhere like Twitch where you have so much control over what the aesthetics, the visuals, the community, the tone of voice, the music, like it's the product of what you've created. Like nobody owes you to click on your stream, but they do because of what you offer. And it's like, that's a reflection of yourself and your being, which I think is why, like you said, I look at you and I'm like, like Ruth's such a vibe. Like I feel so inspired and motivated by you as a person, and it's so clear to see so publicly on a platform like that. how beautiful it is. Not obviously you probably don't see it the same because you live your life day to day, and you're like, I'm stressed out. Even last night on your story, you're like, I need to reflect. Like, what am I doing? Where's my life going? And all this stuff. And it's like, from the outside, obviously, it's like, oh, that garden's really beautiful. Like, Ruth's putting a lot of work in there, which is fun.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
I think
it's very nice. It's true. I'm really grateful for all of the kind people in my community. They make the space so nice. I feel like some people are like, oh, it's a streamer, but I feel like it's also a huge part of the people that come to the stream. They are lovely. If you are from my stream, shout out. You're awesome.
Shout out to the little
Just
shit.
so genuine and lovely.
Do you still have that name?
If you're a little shit, shout out. Yes, our raid message is still like the little shits are raiding. And someone today was like, what if we get banned from their channel for swearing? I was like, then we get banned together. Sounds good to me. And likewise with your community. Your community is so warm. It's so welcoming. Every time someone comes in, everyone else is just like, hi. And really feels like a really close-knit group of friends, honestly. It doesn't feel like it's only a one-way thing. It feels like when they come into the stream, they get like 50 blobs just surrounding them with like kindness
all
and
little
encouraging
shits
words.
for sure. All little shits for sure. We definitely have very
little blob shits.
Little blob shits. Yeah, like the combination. It sounds so gross, doesn't it? I always wonder what people would think when they come into the community for the first time. Like if they're just randomly clicking through streams and they come across it, and we're like, blob shits, like blah, 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 blah. It's like, what the hell is going on? Like in this stream right now, like it's funny. It's really funny. Yeah, but yeah, I'm
you
very
need to offset the sweetness with some like funny,
some grossness. No, 100%. Okay. I did have one more question, and I think it's a nice one to kind of round on, which is if you could go back and visit your younger self, however far back you want it to go, and you could kind of have a conversation with yourself with where you are now, what would you say to yourself? Like baby Ruth or younger Ruth?
This is such a good question.
I love it. I tried to answer this myself, and I still haven't got an answer.
Really?
For inspiration.
I like how you don't have an answer, but you're like, I'm gonna make Ruth answer this.
Yeah, I don't need to answer.
That's a really good question. I'm gonna ask you after I answer it.
I just cut it out. I'll cut you out asking.
Okay. No. Okay, I think I've set on something. It'll be an ongoing conversation, probably. I probably have to put more thought into it. But the first thing that comes to mind is just to not really lose that spark and just that innocence in a way. Because when I was younger, I felt like I was a lot more free. I had a lot less expectations on myself and a lot less critical thinking. Just did things because they were nice and they were enjoyable and because I loved them. And somewhere along the line, I kind of went into the whole like, if it's not productive, why do I do it? The worst mindset ever. I regret going down that path. So if I could go back and tell my younger self, I'll probably tell her like, just don't lose that spark and just that joy for the little things. And somewhere along the way, things will kind of fall in line. And don't be so hard on yourself. Why are you being such a pushover to yourself? Just be gentle to yourself. Know that you're deserving of grace. Know that you're deserving of good times. You don't always have to earn the good times. Yeah, probably that's the key thing. You don't have to earn good things. Probably believe that I have to earn good things. Yeah.
That's
How about
really
you?
beautiful.
Now I'm curious to hear what
Whoa. This is it's really interesting that you it's really beautiful. First of all, it's really beautiful. I love the keeping the spark thing. I think that's really powerful. It kind of ties in really nicely with what you said earlier about when it comes to content creation, and you were like, there's a balance between doing it for the result and creating because I want to, and having that you said like, just because I like doing it, I like making the reels. Like some days I just wake up and I want to make a reel, or I want to do this, and it's like and it's like a very clear kind of connection, at least in my eyes, where you're finding that spark, and I feel like in your past over the few years you kind of lost sight of the spark, and now you're in the process of like finding it and giving it a bit of fuel and letting it go a bit brighter.
Yeah,
That's really
definitely.
nice. I think that's a really nice way to tie it off with the like refinding your spark, like going back inwards to who you are, like rediscovering your boundaries. Just kind of it kind of sounds a bit cliche, but like learning to love yourself for like who you are and who you believe to be. And obviously that's like an ongoing process for sure. There's never really like an end goal, which is maybe why it's so hard for to like tangible. Like if you're going for a stream, you can be like, oh, like 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers or 1,000 views on a reel. Like it's very tangible. You've got the numbers on the screen. Whereas if it's like I'm gonna love myself, it's like that's a lifelong process. There's not really like a end goal that you can get to. So you're like, I can't comprehend that. Like,
exactly. And it's not measurable. You can't be like, I love myself 60%.
Yeah, I guess not. You can't love myself 60% today. Yeah, no, it doesn't really work. No,
I mean, I guess you can go to a Twitch chat and be like, love check, and then they'll give you a random percentage. Oh my god.
Yeah,
okay,
and if it
I love
feels
myself 10% today.
that is funny that you say that. I do like the focus check and the. So for anyone who doesn't know, we have these little commands in Twitch chat where you can do like exclamation mark, like hype check or tired check or focus check, and it will give you a random. It's completely randomly generated number. Of like you are 69% tired or whatever it is. Why do I use that number? Like however tired you are, and if I look at it and I'm like, am I
69? Let's go.
It had to be, didn't it? It's like embedded in the conscious now. Yeah, and I'll say to myself like, does that feel right? And if I'm like, no, it doesn't, then I'm like, okay, well that now I got something to work with. You know, it's I really, really, really appreciate you coming on today. Where would you want people to find you? You can do some shameless plug-in.
Shameless plugging. Thanks for having me. It was fun. Our first podcast. Let's go. It was a lot of fun. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm glad we did it. At least we got the first one out of the way. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast. It baffles my brain that I am on a podcast with Mike, but in a good way, in a very good way. It does feel very weird. If you would like to find me on my socials, you can find me on AI Ruth on Twitch. You can find me on, what is my Instagram name? Guess we'll put it in the
yeah, you can do the whole like. It sounds so weird to say, doesn't it? Like links are going to be below. I might put them on screen or something. Like names in the description. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and all that stuff.
Don't forget to subscribe to Mike. He's a great guy.
And Ruth.
He deserves it all. Give a like, give a subscribe, give a
thumbs
share, copy a link, send it to yourself if you have no one to send it to. But you definitely do. So you send it to like 10 people.
Yeah,
if
comment for the algorithm.
Send it to yourself.
All that stuff.
Comment, if you stayed until the end, comment, Carol, we love you.
Ooh, we could have like a secret code word at the end to see who's been like going through, and we'll just never say anything else. Like we won't say anything about it. Just at the end, it will just
no
be
context.
It's been such an honor having you on there, Ruth. Like seriously, from the bottom of my heart, it's amazing. And like I feel like every time we do something like this, I'm like we get to know each other like so much more, and it's like like I feel like we're very ambitious people, like you said, on our own paths, and it's really beautiful to see like where you are now. I'm very excited to see where you are in the future. Like imagine doing like a recap of these in like 3 years time, and we'll be like, oh wow, that was cringe what we did back then, wasn't it? We're like so, because like, where will you be in 3 years? You'll finish your course, right? You'll be working. Like shit, man, it's like the world's always changing in a beautiful way though. I'm very excited to see your journey.
I thought you were gonna look back and be like, what a beautiful journey, but no, you're like, we'll look back and be like, cringe.
If you ever watch your first stream or like a VOD, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm cringe. Like any creator I see, they look back on their first ones and they're like, oh, that's so cringe. I feel like we did a good job. I feel very happy with this. So maybe not. Maybe this is like the game changer.
If this is your first podcast, it only gets better. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at it and cringe, it's a sign of growth. So I hope you cringe really hard then. Oddly, not to say.
I just think it's going to be beautiful to, like we said, like in a couple of years you can look back and see like where you were then and where you are now, and like the whole process. If you'll come back, I hope I haven't scared you off.
Wait, we have another podcast schedule? That's
in like 2 years or something.
Of course. If you have me, I would be honored. I would be very honored if I ever do a podcast. If you would Give me the honor of being on my podcast. It would be amazing.
Is that a sneak peek? Can we expect a Ruth podcast in the future?
Oh, if you come to the end of the video, you will earn the sneak peek.
This is the sneak peek. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. But if I ever do it, it would be an honor to have you on the podcast.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Cool. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again for coming on, Ruth. I really, really, really appreciate it. For those of you who have made it to the end, what the hell are you doing? No, not what the hell are you doing with your life? Either you fell asleep to this, in which case, good night, sweet dreams. I hope you have a good sleep. Or you're just really interested in what we're saying, in which you've got this, whatever you're doing. But yeah, thank you. If you have made it out of interest, then you guys are fucking awesome. Thank you so much. Again, all of Ruth's social stuff, if you want to check her out, will be below. In terms I didn't think of an outro for the podcast. I suppose this is the first episode, so I hope you enjoyed. As Ruth said, I'm going to pin it on you. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. We've got a lot more guests coming in the future. It should be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of people lined up, a lot of interesting people as well lined up. So not that you're not interested. This was like what do you call it? Starting off strong. I was like going out with a bang, and I was like, well, it's not over yet. Like, it's literally just started.
It's not. It's only the beginning.
Only the beginning. The seed's been planted, and this is like the first shoot coming out of the ground. That's how I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
There's definitely some garden-related
exciting days
thumbnails coming. Hopefully. No, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's such an honor.
You're going to make me blush. Okay, Ruth. I'll see you in your streams. Take it easy. All the best.
Yes.
Until next time. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.